For a long time, I had nightmares about how I grew up. Okay. And I think that is what has propelled this fire in me.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be
The journey. The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is
The journey. The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that came to us from the other side of the world. But before we get there, I'm going to share with you a little African proverb. And it goes like this: a roaring lion kills no game. What does that mean? Here's what it means to me. Is that if you keep running your mouth, you ain't doing nothing. It's those that actually are doing something, keeping their head down and making things happen are the ones that's actually making impact. So shut your mouth and do what you got to do. This gentleman is the epitome of that. His name is Ephraim Urevbu, and he's from Nigeria. Artist, entrepreneur, son, husband, father, but more than anything, he's a visionary, creative leader. Before we go any further, please welcome Ephraim Urevbu.
Thank you, Larry.
What's up, Captain?
It's been a while.
Man, I'm telling you, it is so good. I'm so honored that you are here.
I'm honored to be here. I'm really honored to be here.
So listen, let's go back. Let's go back.
Okay.
Take me back to Africa.
Okay.
Tell me about the household that you grew up in.
Okay.
And who was in that household.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna let you go too long because
Okay.
we got to move quickly through this segment.
Fine.
Okay.
I was raised by a single mom.
Okay.
So that to many people
In Africa?
Oh yes, I was raised by a single mom, and which is a reality, right?
Yeah.
But I was raised by a single mom with 8 kids in one bedroom.
Okay. We gonna unpack that, but the single mom piece.
Yeah.
How does that happen? And then where's your dad?
My dad happened to have married more than one wife.
Okay.
My mom was living way ahead of her time.
Okay.
So when she left my dad,
Okay.
she left my dad and took all the kids, which is a no-no, not in the culture.
I've never heard that.
So
in
she
Africa.
took all the kids with her,
Okay.
and my grandmom helped my mom to raise us.
Okay.
So when I came here and people say, "Oh, yeah, I grew up in a single family home," I can relate.
Me too.
Yeah.
So who outside of your mom and the household that you grew up in had the biggest impact on young Ephraim?
Wow, that's a good question. You know, I'm not really looked at that, but back in Nigeria, my mom had a big influence.
Mm-hmm.
Then the school I went to,
Okay.
I went to a very private, exclusive school that was built for one purpose:
Okay.
leadership.
Okay.
So there were only 3 of those schools built in the country when I was coming up.
Right.
And they were strategically positioned to encourage integration. So in the north, the Hausas, in the south, the Yorubas and the Igbos. So to integrate all these languages, they strategically placed these schools in those 3 parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And so those of us in the south went up north, those in the north came down south,
Right.
to learn the culture, the language, and all of that.
Right.
And my teachers came from every corner of the globe. My English teacher was from England. My French teacher was from France.
Okay.
My geography teacher was from Germany.
Wow.
So you mentioned the principal of the school was a Second World War veteran of the British Army.
So literally you had an international education.
International exposure, right. So that was a
Wow.
big influence for me,
Okay.
that exposed me to a global space.
Right.
Even before, I became old enough to know what it was.
I got you.
Yeah.
What decision did you make as a young person that ended up having a lifelong impact?
Oh, my
even
God.
though
Yeah.
at the time you didn't realize what an impact it was going to make on your
Right.
life.
So again, because of the kind of school I went to,
Uh-huh.
every Nigerian that is quote unquote successful has only 3 professions.
Mm.
1, engineer, 2, lawyer, and the 3rd, doctor. I'm here with my friend who is a physician. So I grew up with a lot of friends who are physicians.
Right.
Because the school I went to, once you graduated, the stake was so high that the expectation was that you are going to either be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
And I had the audacity to say I want to be an artist.
Where did that come from?
Because that, from very early on, that was the only place I could go to and get the kind of joy and peace that I was getting.
Right.
Yeah, I excelled in other classes.
Right.
Because I'm expected to do that.
Right.
But I enjoyed being an artist such that I became the president of the press club. I became the president of the art club, and then because of all this integration, I was exposed to a lot of things. So I was doing, I was getting into competitions, European competitions.
Well, hold on. We're going to talk about the second part. We're going to talk about the second part. How different are you from the person you dreamed you would be as a young person?
Oh, man, life teaches you a lot. I've grown. First, I had to fight to get out of Nigeria because the pressure to be one of these 3 professions was too hard on me.
Okay.
So coming to America was a decision I made based on the fact that I wanted to be an artist and I couldn't do it in the country that I grew up in.
So at what age did you say, I want to be an artist?
7 years old.
7?
Yeah.
When everything was around you was doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, in a sense.
and I look back and I say that I found my passion so early on in life.
Really?
That I am so thankful and grateful to God for giving me the audacity to pursue it.
Wow.
Okay? And when I look back at that, and I talk to young people today, the first thing I tell them is don't be carried away by the bling blings and the glitters. It's not all that glitter is gold.
Right.
Look deep within, see what your passion really is about, and go for it at all cost. Because at the end of the day, that is what happiness is all about. Okay. So I found that very early.
Okay. When did you know you was going to be okay? When could you look in the mirror and say, I can do this thing called life?
A few years back.
Are you serious?
Let me tell you, at every stage of the way, I doubted if I made the right decision. The struggles, the heartaches. I mean, coming to a country that I knew very little about. I mean, we heard about America, we studied about America, but there was a component of America that wasn't taught to us.
But why America? Why? I mean, when you dealt with people from France,
Good question.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm running away from home.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
All my contemporaries were going to Europe. It's a 6 to 7 hours flight.
Okay.
I wanted to go so far away that it will take a good consideration for people to want to come to see me.
Right.
America was the farthest I could think of.
Wow.
It's a 13 hours flight.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, this is the last question of this segment. And most Americans, and when I ask this question, most Black men understand it. But I want to ask you this. What was the moment that you realized that you, Ephraim Urevbu, was a Black man? Hold on real quick.
Okay.
Listen, we're going to come right back on the journey where Brother Ephraim is going to share with us when he realized he was Black. We'll be right back. Stay right there. We're going to keep bringing these amazing people to you. So right after this, stay right there. This is The Journey on the Kazuki Network.